All right, here we are in the home stretch. So, um, earlier I gave this conclusion table, and the conclusion table, across the top had the null hypothesis was the original claim, the alternate hypothesis was the original claim, and on the left-hand side we had two rows: reject the null and fail to reject. So we first started section 9.1, and I spent some time, teaching you how to make sure that you identify the null and the alternate hypothesis and that you clearly label at the beginning which of the two was your original claim. Okay, so that comes at the very beginning. Now, at the very end, what we just now covered was determining whether we're going to reject the null hypothesis or we're going to fail to reject the null hypothesis. And whatever our original claim was, and whether we chose to reject or fail to reject, that's going to dictate which of these four outcomes we're going to end up coming to, and then writing a conclusion at the end. So how you write your conclusion, let's see here. There we go. How you write your conclusion is you put the conclusion table outcome first. My spelling was bad. Then you follow that with your original claim, and then you say what the confidence level or significance level was that helped you formulate that conclusion. So let's look at an example together to see how you would do that. So Americans who know their credit score. If the original claim is that the percentage of Americans who know their credit score is less than 20%, and our hypothesis test tells us to reject the null, then what is the final conclusion? Okay, so let's take a look here. So this is kind of telling us, what the hypothesis test is. So the hypothesis test ended up telling us to reject the null. So we know at the very end, we've got reject the null. Okay, but which was the original claim? Was the null or the alternate our original claim? So let's read this a little more carefully. So it says, if the original claim is that the percentage of Americans who know their credit score is less than 20%. So what that means is the percentage of Americans who know their credit score is less than 20%. Okay, because this inequality here does not have an equality, it does not have an equals in it, that is going to be our alternate hypothesis. And this alternate hypothesis is our original claim. Okay, so the alternate hypothesis is our original claim. So now to write our conclusion is you come down from this alternate hypothesis being the original claim, you go down, you go from reject the null, which is what we found out during the course of our hypothesis test, and you go over, and where those two cross, this is going to be the outcome for your hypothesis test. So the first thing you write is you write your outcome from the conclusion table outcome. So we're going to say there is sufficient evidence to support the claim that, okay, then we put in the original claim. So that the percentage of Americans who know their credit score is less than 20%. Let me use a different color for that. So I'll use green. Okay, the percentage of Americans. Okay. So there is sufficient evidence to support the claim that, let me scroll this a little bit, that the percentage of Americans who know their credit score is less than 20%. And then we want to, so that was our original claim, and we want to follow that up with this confidence level or significance level. Now here, we're not told anything about what the confidence level or significance level was. But if that's ever the case, you can always assume it's a 95% confidence level. So there is sufficient evidence to support the claim that the percentage of Americans who know their credit score is less than 20%, and we'll write with a 95% confidence level. Oops. Come on, eraser. There we go. Confidence level. And this, I promise you, it's like I'm choosing black and it's just delaying changing the color. This is our final hypothesis test answer. That's what all of the work that we've done in our hypothesis test was to come to writing this conclusion. Okay. So what I've kind of demonstrated here is just how you finally end your hypothesis test. All right. There are some think pair shares, give those a try. But I'll have a video here kind of walking through my answer to those as well. All right, let me know if you have any questions.